Good morning. It is quite a pleasant day. It's recovered slightly from yesterday's absurd heat wave. It actually rained and there was a bit of thunder last night, and that's cleared the air a little. That said, still probably, 23, 24 degrees, even though it's very overcast. It's going to be apparently quite mixed today. Not that I care, because, it's nice to have a bit of variation, to be honest. Anyway.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
Anyway, so we're going round to Crystal's parents later on, so that should be good. But before that, I need to actually get some bits for breakfast. Have some pancakes, because we haven't done that in a while. But we get a cooked breakfast Thursday morning when we're in Heathrow, so that's also something to look forward to. Damn it, I was really hoping the bloke who chopped this before would come out last night and sawn through it again. Give it time, it'll disappear. Park, fun. I just tried to climb up the pole on the right there, but my feet are too big to fit in the little grooves. I wish they'd make these for adults. I mean, they might as well, understand that adults are going to try and use them anyway, so they might as well, design them with that in mind. Or just do an adult playground, I'll be totally for that. It's Sunday morning, still nobody has removed this, but this is usually when people start queuing outside M&S before it opens, which I always find hysterical. I want food so bad I'm going to queue, yeah, look. So that's where I'm going, obviously. So we're doing our walk around Kew Gardens as part of our training. Let's cue the music. Well, this is where the stage is, by Kew Palace. Pretty huge. And then you've got the John Lewis tent, with hymns and whatnot. Pretty impressive structure. Hi, I'm just sitting here kind of going through last week's vlog. It's just uploaded, in fact, so, obviously, because you're watching next week's. There's a playlist though now you might find interesting. There's a 2014 playlist, so if you missed anything you can just pick out the week from the little playlist. So have a hunt around on the channel, see what you find. This, as I said, is a short vlog because I'm going there on Thursday, so this ends on Wednesday. But I thought there's two things I'd like to cover before I go away. Firstly, just a thought about the as you get older you start to understand the things that your parents said when you were younger. But some things not so much, and the one that every generation will go through is your parents' generation saying, oh, the good old days. In my day, this was why it was so fantastic when I was young. The reality is that everyone thinks it's fantastic when they were young. It's because they're young. That's why it's fantastic. Doesn't really matter what else is happening. But I just thought I'd give you a quick thought on my generation and why I see this, to me, obviously, as quite an exciting time to be sort of between 20 and 30. It's because we're the first and we're the only generation that has ever properly spanned the pre and post-internet world. So when we grew up, there was no usable working internet. As a kid, there was no... if you got a computer, it was bloody expensive for a start, and you couldn't go online. That only became a reality when I was sort of 10, 11, 12. I started hearing about it. People started getting it when I was about 15, 16, and then when I got to university, that was the sort of the mainstream years, or late 90s. So I've seen things both before and after, and I think that's fascinating. I know a world where you can't do internet shopping and you can't send emails. And the idea of streaming services and social media are just completely unimaginable. And YouTube would have been just mind-blowing. And I've seen the other side. So every generation before mine, really lived in a pre-internet world and has never fully sort of grasped it. So I'm talking about the next generation up. So you get some silver surfers and what have you, but they probably don't make the same use of it and the same reliance on it as the younger generations. And obviously every generation after mine will never have seen a pre-internet world, so they have nothing to compare it against. So for that reason, I actually think that it's a fascinating time to be alive, personally. You've actually seen history being made, huge steps in history being made. So there we go, there's my 2 cents for the day. Anyway, tomorrow I'll bring you some fascinating, useful tips for remembering PIN numbers. Welcome to deepest, darkest Chiswick, where we're currently doing our Monday 6-mile easy walk. Easy in terms of pace rather than in terms of difficulty. We've just come across Kew Bridge and weave our way through Strand on the Green into Chiswick. And then we sort of weave our way back towards Barnes Bridge and then back over the other side. This is a nice leafy bit. Suburban. There's the orangey purpley sunset. Quite impressive. Hello, good morning. If you ever wondered how you film yourself, then the answer is you put your camera on a tripod with a directional mic ideally, or lapel mic, and then what you can do is turn the tripod round so you've got the arm at the front, and then mount a display so you can actually see yourself. And then it's very straightforward, and obviously you might need a light as well, just to counteract the brightness there a little bit, but yeah, so that is how easy it is. And this is why I've been doing that. So I've just wrapped on the video. The second part you can do, which you often see in videos, people cut away to things, but the voiceover continues. So it's very straightforward. In this case, I just got the camera angle down, put my hand underneath holding the iPhone, and then I watch through there and listen simultaneously to the words I'm saying on there and mime along. It is really that easy. Anyway, enough camera geekery for the day. It is now time to have a little lunch, send a couple of invoices, and then we've got the last walk before we go on holiday, which is a 7-mile walk this evening, which we did 7 on Sunday, we did 6 last night, and we've got to do 7 tonight. So that's about 3/4 of a marathon in 3 days, which sounds like a lot, but then I consider we have to do a whole marathon in 1 day. So probably not. So I've just had to map out a route for that. But then we're having tomorrow's a rest day, obviously, because it's the day before we go on holiday. And then once we're on holiday, I mean, it's a walking holiday, so hopefully we'll do as many miles as are prescribed in our wonderful training sheet. I know I said it was going to be a shorter vlog this week, but as always, then loads of things happen. So I'm currently putting somebody's wedding video onto DVD, which is... that process is there. And the usual thing with wedding videos, they're actually mostly very similar, especially if they're shot in the sort of 90s, which a lot of the ones I've been doing are. But the one particularly amusing part of this is that before the wedding video starts, you get a little bit of what was on the tape before the wedding video went on. And it appears, shockingly, that they have taped over an episode of Grand Designs for their own wedding. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. It's a very nice evening. Well, I say very nice, it's very hot and muggy again. And so it's off on the start of our walk, which takes us around the glamorous suburbs of Mortlake, all parts of Sheen, north, south, and east and west, and then back into Kew. Welcome to East Sheen. I suppose technically we're pretty much in southwest East Sheen at this point. It's very, very pretty up here. There's lots of very big houses. We just went past a very nice pub called The Plough, which looks awesome, which I'll have to revisit at a time when we're not walking. These are all very nice houses though. All of the prices start with some number of millions. And we're essentially up on the hill just at the base of Richmond Park, which is those big trees over there is pretty much Richmond Park. Just crossing the railway lines back, this is where the tracks between Kew and Mortlake diverge. There's Richmond Station. We're nearly back. It's just about 10 o'clock and we're just in the suburbs of Kew, heading for home. Hi, so I'm just sitting here perusing the menu for tomorrow. So this is the last day of this week's vlog. Tomorrow, next week, as far as you're concerned in the vlog, to get up really early, get on a plane, go to Switzerland, which is awesome, except for the getting up early part. So I'm just looking at the menu for where we're eating tomorrow night. It's kind of hard to get in my mind that it's less than 24 hours time, except when you read this level of German. See, that is very, very German, that menu. That is, yeah. And this is a place that doesn't really understand English, so I'm having to brush up on my wonderful German. Fondue? Maybe. These are priced in Swiss francs, which is about 1.5 Swiss francs to the pound. But Switzerland's still quite expensive. So, like, that is a plate of ham, and that costs 10 English pounds. Amazing. So there we go. So, penultimate thing before we wrap up. I thought I should mention that I am doing the Shine Nighttime Walking Marathon, which is what all this training's been for, in September. Look, there's my number and everything. And because of that, I've set up a Just Giving page so that I can raise some money for Cancer Research UK, which is, after all, the whole point of it. I'm not just walking 26 miles for the fun of it. I'm not sure anyone would walk that far for fun. And so I thought I should at least mention it here. If you feel that you can sponsor me in any way at all, then that would be fantastic. Obviously, I understand if you can't. You get a lot of these things generally via emails at work and whatnot. I've set up a Just Giving page, justgiving.com/Toby Dollier, spelt the same way as it is in my channel name. But if not, then I'll put the link here. There it is. See, look, like that. So I'd greatly appreciate if you could do that. I now realise that this vlog is not a short vlog. It's a short number of days and an incredibly long vlog, so apologies for that. So we're all done. We've had dinner. That's where we're going. The land of cheese, not the co-op. The actual land of cheese, Switzerland. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can subscribe and like and all those things. So. And obviously you can click on last week's and next week's video in a second if they're up.